All right, well, good evening. I call to order the June meeting of the McCandless EAC. Because at this point, we don't have a quorum. We're just going to have a working meeting tonight. There will be no votes on minutes or adjournment or anything like that. We'll just have some general discussions on the items on the agenda. So we will put off the approval of the May minutes to next month when we can vote on them. So then we'll just proceed to some project updates, which should be fairly brief tonight because thank you very much, Dave, for sending in a really nice report on the litter subcommittee and all of your activities. And Jeff also submitted a report for Green Space and gave a little bit of a summary of our stream walk last week. I can add a little bit more detail, and I'm sure Ken and Dave can too, just to kind of bring Shelley and Angela up to speed on it. The first item, we have the coal tar ordinance. I did send that recommendation to Shelley today. And Shelley, we did vote at last month's meeting to make the particular recommendation for EAC to recommend that the town council put together a resolution. It's not going to be an ordinance banning coal tar, but it is a resolution stating that this should not be used in the town, and with several details as to how we can make that happen. So we did vote and approved to make that recommendation. I did the write-up, and I guess the question is, Shelley, we don't believe we have to vote on it again. I'd like to make sure everyone on the EAC has a chance to review it, and no one has any issues with the wording or anything that they feel needs to be deleted or added. Up to this point, I've had no comments.
At this juncture, I did get a response back from Council President, and she is going to, sounds like she is going to put it on the agenda.
Okay.
So that's a good thing. And I'm not necessarily going to push for a vote on the resolution, like a motion for the resolution. I want to make sure that council has adequate opportunity to ask any questions they have. We can provide them with the information that we have. But the bottom line is that I think that it's going to be in front of council, and I'm supportive of the resolution and I actually liked it. You explained to me earlier, Judy, that it was based primarily on Richlands,
Yes.
which you felt was one of the better versions, not dissimilar to Hampton's, but
No,
they're all kind of similar.
Yeah, a lot of the wording is the same. They tweak, they added detail here, deleted detail there. But I thought theirs read more the way I'd like to see it written. All right, what feel we agreed on.
Yeah, no, I thought it was good. And anyway, it's going to be, as far as I know, it's going to be on council's agenda, and it may be just for a future meeting to actually agree on whether we want to have a resolution to that, based on what you presented, or it could be subject to further discussion. But I think it's a really good thing to get it in front of council and keep this moving. And as well as the, I think a key point, though, that goes along with it as well as the resolution is the project form, which contemplates community education about the dangers of this material. So
right.
I'm going to try to focus on that and explain that as well. So that's where that stands.
And you see, and attached to the project form are a Richlands resolution, Fox Chapel's ordinance, and a data sheet from USGS that I think pretty much summarized everything best of any of the other publications I saw.
Yes, good job, Judy. Really good job. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Okay, do we have Ishmael coming on?
He's here.
Well, while we're waiting, let's see, Jonathan is not here tonight. I guess what we're still waiting for on sustainability, he was going to put together a summary of the recommendations that came out of the capstone project, and present that to council. Have you seen anything with that, Shelley?
No, I still have not, although I will say this, that Council President Zachary did contact me and suggested that, because I wanted to do something that, that for the students who did this work for us, that gave them some, that, well, I guess it would, I'm trying to think what the word that they used was, sorry. It was like a commendation, I guess, a commendation from town council. So that's what I'm working on that. And
Okay,
I need to, I think that would be a nice thing for, I don't know, okay. I think that would be a nice thing for town council to do. And I need to get a hold of Tony to see if any of these students would like to come to a town council meeting or participate by Zoom to actually accept it. So that I told Kim that I needed to do that. So I'm thinking that this is really bad. Ishmael, are you there?
Yes, can you hear me?
Okay, well, I don't know, there's some real background.
some feedback somewhere, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean,
Sorry. Anyways, very disconcerting, I'm sorry. But anyway, the council does want to do something to recognize these students. And I said I would reach out to, and I'm gonna get a hold of Angela because I know she has the closest relationship with Tony, to see if, we can send it to them. We can still do it formally in a town council meeting to recognize their efforts, or we can do it if some of them want to participate more personal, we can do it in that way as well. So we're just because I wanted to handle this, I think we're talking probably more in the July range council meeting to do that. But nevertheless, we want to do something to recognize these students. So that's what's
Okay.
going on there.
Well, that sounds great. Thanks. It looks like we now have with Ishmael, you're there, right?
yes, I'm here.
Okay, now we have a quorum, so I guess we can call to order a formal meeting of the EAC, since now we have everybody. So I'm going to backtrack just a little bit, and I'm going to go back to the minutes so we can go ahead and approve the minutes. So do we have a motion to approve the minutes as written from May? All right, Dave, I got a second? Okay, all in favor of approval of minutes, say aye.
I
All right, thank you very much. Minutes are approved. Now we'll continue on. I'm not sure if, I'm going to back up just a second, Ishmael. I don't know if you had a chance to look at the coal tar recommendations, if you had any comments or anything to add or any issues with those.
no,
Okay.
no comment.
Okay, thanks. Next up is the litter subcommittee report. And once again, Dave did a real nice comprehensive report there. I don't know if you have anything else to add, or we good to go with the report as written?
I think we're good with the report. Let me just see down here. Oops. I'm looking at last month's report. Here we go. We did meet with, the town has a new code enforcement officer, Shannon Vincent. He's on first meeting. I think he's going to be awesome, kind of no nonsense guy. So I think that's a real, strong replacement for Jeff, who moved on to public works. So I think we're in good hands there. We did, there was a woman by the name of Caitlin Erickson from Pennsylvania Municipal League who asked for some input on litter issues in the state and how
Right.
your local municipality was handling that kind of thing. It was all geared toward what kind of infrastructure you have in place and what kind of infrastructure you need. And it was almost an overuse of the word infrastructure, and it led us to believe that it was maybe tied to the infrastructure bill that's being talked about in Washington, and maybe there's some money that's going to filter down and to Pennsylvania about, and some of that is possibly going to be earmarked for litter mitigation, enforcement, control, that kind of thing. So PML, Pennsylvania Municipal League, is participating in that, and they asked for some input. And we wrote up actually Kathy Martins, Lynn Atman, and myself put together a bunch of ideas, a pretty long email back to Caitlin for one of their what they call it, working session or working group meetings. Basically just how we do it in McCandless, what our experience is over 4 years of being out there on the side of the road picking up litter, our experience with PennDOT and what they are capable of doing and what they should not be tasked with doing, that kind of thing. So that was that's been in. I haven't circled back. I guess that's what Jen Psaki always says, but haven't circled back to her about back to Caitlin about what if anything came of that or what. I guess the infrastructure bill has been, it's kind of delayed now, or Biden broke off talks with the other side in Congress, maybe temporarily or whatever. So I'm not sure what the status of that is, but anyway, that's what it seemed like. It was geared toward the state receiving some kind of infrastructure funds and maybe earmarking some of that for litter. Let's see what else. We've had some talks with folks at McCandless Crossing, occasional talks with PennDOT and our own DPW about certain, things we notice as we're driving around. One kind of interesting thing is one of the candidates that was running for election in the primary, Joseph Patrick Murphy, has had quite a few signs up. They're kind of a green and white sign. There were quite a few of them up in McCandless. We talked to him actually several times. He was very supportive of getting campaign signs down in a timely manner. He actually made a video for his Facebook group. I think he said there was like 1,000 views of it or something like that. So he's very well aware. His kind of take on it is the winners should set the precedent as taking down their signs. If your signs remain up, you might be thought of as the loser of the campaign, because the losers just walk away from it, but the winners are the ones that take down their signs. Anyway, we also had a meeting just the other day with our Judge William Wagner, who's down on Perry Highway, handles McCandless, Bradford Woods, I don't know, Pine, Marshall, Franklin Park, that kind of area. Met with him and RJ Susko and Shannon Vincent just to get a sense of what his thoughts are on enforcement. Shannon would, the procedure would be Shannon comes out with or issues warnings. Eventually it might become a ticket or a citation. The violator either pays it or goes to court to fight it. If it gets that far, it would come in front of Judge Wagner. So it was very interesting to hear what his talk is, what his take on things are. He's a strong advocate of, you know, having a clean and good-looking town. So, you know, I think that was great for us to meet him and for Shannon to meet him also.
So I guess nobody has been ticketed or prosecuted for the sign ordinance yet?
I don't believe so. No.
Yeah.
No.
Just curious.
It's,
If I could just, I just have a comment, Dave.
Yeah.
First of all, I loved your report. Thank you so much for taking the time to do that. And you're doing some fabulous work. I did want to just make sure that your litter group, and I know you know very well what the sign ordinance currently says. And based just upon some complaints, is that just want to make sure that your group is completely clear, because I know you do wonderful work, so I don't want to take anything away from you, that we, you know, and it sounds like you're doing all the right things, working with Shannon, because there is, I mean, in, comprehensively, if Shannon, I know you guys have taken down some signs, and as long as it's in coordination with Shannon and that they're delivered to town hall, and there is the requirement, I believe, in the ordinance that they be held for 10 days for the various politicians to, or others, actually, not just politicians, to retrieve their signs, that we're just doing it right. You know, we know that we're all on the same page, that, but that we're not disposing of signs inappropriately, and giving opportunities for people to pick up their signs if they so desire. And if they don't, then that's fine too. But it sounds like you're in close connection with Shannon. So I'm just saying, just let's make sure that we're doing it in coordination with Shannon and the sign ordinance that we recently passed.
well, here's my thought. It's kind of a gray area, whether, are folks that pick up signs private citizens, or are they some extension of the town?
I don't think that a private citizen has the right to do it. I think it's actually the town that has the right to do it, and do it in accordance with the sign ordinance. And therefore that, I can't speak for Shannon, because I've not connected with him on this issue, but that, he's one guy, and there's like thousands of signs, probably hundreds of signs for sure. And that if there is assistance from the general public in the efforts to support the sign ordinance, then it just needs to be in coordination, that's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Because I hope that makes sense, but I think that's what we need to do. As much as we'd all love to like rip out those signs and throw them in the nearest dumpster, that I don't think that our ordinance and would allow us to do that. So we just have to be somewhat careful and cautious about how we go about it.
Okay. That's, we'll discuss that with Shannon, because that's kind of a different take than how Jeff had us handle it. So.
Yeah, I'm just saying from some input that I've received that, I mean, I guess most of all, I'm simply saying that however it is handled, it needs to be handled in accordance with our ordinance that was just recently passed. And Shannon is the new sheriff in town on that issue. And I'm confident that, that he will, handle it with whatever help he can get appropriately. Just make sure that it's done that way.
Okay,
And by the way, if you have, I'm just telling you, based on what I've heard, if, we could talk afterward or, talk separately if, I might have all of the pertinent information from your perspective, and your group who has been working very hard to try to fix these long-term problems. So I'm more than willing to have further conversations so that I can help you do the right thing as well.
okay, well, I think you mentioned at the beginning a complaint. I've never heard of a complaint. I've never heard of any candidate, any business, anyone.
I think it related to I don't know whether it happened or not, but a complaint related to signs that were retrieved that were no longer legal, that were retrieved by assuming, I don't know, from citizens like yourself and your litter committee, that instead of being delivered to town hall to be appropriately communicated to the, I think this was a case of a politician, that they were thrown in, they were disposed of, as opposed to be given to town hall and Shannon to call that individual and be able to retrieve them.
Okay,
That was the issue. It was disposal versus the ordinance, which does allow these people who have signs that are retrieved to be able to pick them up. I think they have a 10-day window to do that, as I recall.
okay. That's the first I've heard that, and Shannon hasn't mentioned anything to us about it, so, okay, we'll check in on that.
Yeah, we can talk about it more too, Dave. That's fine.
All right. Thanks, Shelley. Anything else, Dave?
No,
Yep.
man,
All right. Thanks again for that. And I think I just forwarded probably about 10 minutes before the meeting. Jeff had sent me a brief report for Green Space Update that basically says that the Greenways grant was sent in for Wall Park. So I guess that's the one that went in at the end of May. And he's requested support letters for that from Rep. Mercury and Senator Williams. And get a brief recap of our stream walk last week, which was very nice. And Dave and Ken were both there. Beth Dutton and her crew put in a lot of work to organize this for us. And we had folks show up with maps and publications, and it was, I thought it was well done and very helpful. So I guess Jeff did a couple of bullet points of what we discussed. They did have a lot of information, a lot of recommendations for different speaker topics between the folks from NAEC and the watershed stewards and the master gardeners and through Penn State. They gave me quite a comprehensive list here that we can refer to. So, and I know one of the topics we wanted to look at is the flooding and water, the flooding related topics that we need to probably revisit. I knew we kind of held off on those for a little bit, but I will start spending some time with this list to see what we can start putting together. And I think I probably ask this every month. Are we back, I guess, pretty much full open with town hall as far as going back to a regular speaker series event?
Yes.
Okay. So it's time to pull that together. I was really hoping to get someone new on the committee here to help me kind of sort through some of the speaker series stuff. I'll get to it. Unless anybody else wants to dive in, and maybe I can talk to Jeff. Maybe he's got some time now that his grants are in, that we can look into some green space and watershed related topics. Can you think of anything else to add, Ken or Dave, that you got out of the walk?
I think the one thing is I had heard that a lot of the excess water, retention ponds for the developments weren't really done right. And that one we saw, I don't think it ever retains any water. I think that just all goes directly into Pine Creek. So that
Right.
just kind of emphasized that point to me there.
Yeah, there's a very large basin just north of Vestal Park, Vestal Fields, that we were guessing, I guess, it was there for what is the name of that subdivision? That's up above. But according to Beth and her crew, they've never seen more than, maybe a few inches of water in it. And just talking about the possibility, is there any way to look into actually diverting some of Pine Creek, I guess, or some of the drainage there in a heavy rain event to use the capacity of that facility. I don't know, it made sense. I don't know how you go about doing that. But-
Well, you should, that's something new. And I'm pretty involved in stormwater stuff.
Mhm.
That's a situation that I've never really, suggestion I've never heard before, but I'd like to put it in writing and at least submit it to the town, to Bob Grimm and the people because we do have a council stormwater subcommittee that I'm chair of, and I'm working with the engineers, and I'd be happy to introduce that question.
Okay.
I don't know anything about it right now, but it seems pertinent.
Right. I mean, best I could do, I could circle it on a map and send it to you, and we certainly could go out and look at it. It's just a very large basin that
Almost
apparently
like-
never, excuse me?
Not that, it's more than half an acre, but it doesn't look like it ever has any water retention to it.
Right.
Yeah, very interesting. Yeah.
And just talking to how much that could benefit Pine Creek below there if they were able to actually use that.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I would be happy to pass that information on.
Okay.
Judy, another point that was made was just really the lack of water quality data that on Pine Creek. I would think maybe the town would want data on, this is the quality of the water that's coming into the town boundary, what's leaving the town boundaries, and some spots in between where other tributaries come in. I don't think anyone really had a answer of what the water quality is, other than the others road salt and it's
Right.
turbid and that kind of thing. But
Right.
I think that big, huge study that Bill Mall has at least would give you a historic basis, because they did do testing for invertebrates and all of that through the whole watershed. So I'm sure there's data on that. It's just that it might be a little dated.
Right, right.
Okay, I guess moving on, I don't know if Ishmael, if you have any updates. I know we discussed briefly earlier. Still putting together a summary of the information you've gathered.
Yes, and right after you and I spoke, one of the companies sent me uh, an estimate using the township burden. I'm trying to share it here. If John will let me, I can share it.
Let me get that set up here.
Okay.
Oops. All right, you should be ready.
Okay. Can everybody see it now?
Yes,
Okay. Yeah, so this is basically what she did without actually me giving him the electricity bill from the current one. So everything here is just by estimation. And this lady works for Lesson Solar Energy, which falls under Generac. So everything they give us here is has a, what was the word for it? A warranty. Has a warranty from Generac Solar and a company which is one of the biggest in the States. And I also spoke with a friend of mine. I went to school together, Chatham. He is the sales manager for Scalo Solar. So he is also prepared to give me an estimate. He said I should expect it by Monday or Tuesday. So once I get estimate like this, I'm going to put it together like a PowerPoint, and I will send it to you.
okay,
Because this is more detailed than the one I was trying to do.
okay,
So for now, I have this, and I have the one that Tony sent us, which also looks exactly like this one, but it's more detailed because he used 2 or more burden. But this lady is all using the township burden, the one on a Groves Road.
okay. Yeah, that's great. All the information like this you've gathered, yeah, if we could just put it all together in a pretty small basic package, and we can furnish that to Bob Grimm.
Okay, and so if I can get a copy of the electric bill for at least just 1 month, I'll be able to get more details like this from different other companies.
You can probably get a copy of that. Sure.
Okay, thanks.
And by the way, Ishmael,
Yes.
I think that you can feel absolutely free to share. And John, correct me if I'm wrong, but the last year's capstone project that was the energy assessment of town hall, etc. That's on our website, is it not?
Yeah, all the info from that, their video, their final report, that's on the website under the
Okay.
about section.
So Ishmael, that would be, I mean, they did a deep dive into all of our billings, all of the details, all of our energy usage. So I think that, I mean, I'm not saying that a recent bill might not be helpful, but honestly, if you have a whole report at your fingertips to use to share with any companies to put this together, that was quite detailed.
Yep. Yes, but do I have permission to share that on with like other outside companies? That is my worry. That's why I didn't want to go to that route.
Okay, well, I just want to make sure that, you knew that was available to you, and it has quite a bit of detail in it.
Okay, can I use that one? Can I share that one with?
Yes,
Oh,
yes,
okay.
it's public, it's totally public information.
Okay.
I mean, John, could you just maybe make it easier for Ishmael and
Send him a
just
link.
send a link to it, so that he can pass it on? Because Ishmael, I think that this will provide these companies with a
Everything-
significant amount of
Everything they
information.
need, yes. It will give them everything they need, yes.
Yeah, okay, good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Great, thanks, Shelley. Thanks, Ishmael.
No.
Okay, the next topic is a landscape planting guide that I need to get back to. I have nothing new to report on that other than just a lot of information gathered now that I have the coal tar recommendation done. Get back together with Ken and we'll kind of digest all the information we have and put some planting lists together.
This is a nice segue into the chestnut trees we planted in Wall Park last year. 4 of the 5 are growing real well. I had to put netting around them so that the deer didn't eat them anymore. But
Mhm.
4 of the 5 are doing really well.
Good. And the 5th is not doing so well.
Didn't green up for whatever reason, whether
Okay.
it got girdled or whatnot.
Oh, thanks for the update. All right, the next topic is community outreach. I think we've already pretty much gone through the recap of the stream walk. And that takes us, I guess, to some miscellaneous topics. One of which is I guess to put the push out for applicants for our open EAC positions. What we understand, I guess, correct me if I'm wrong, John and Shelley, we don't yet have any applicants for the open position.
Correct.
So I know some of you had contacted some folks. I think, was it Jonathan that contacted Tony Kurzman?
I
I
believe
believe-
Angela.
Was it Angela? Somebody did.
You're right. It could have been Jonathan. I don't know if Angela's still on here. She could answer for herself, but anyway, yeah, he would have been he definitely would have been a great candidate.
And I think, Dave, you've been checking with some folks on your litter subcommittee as well. I know there's folks out there that have an interest. We need to we need to encourage them to apply. What happens, I guess, if is tomorrow the deadline?
Yeah, 5 p.m.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, where we are today, we obviously, I don't think it's reasonable to think that even if we all sat down and made calls all night that we're going to get, by tomorrow, but I think we're going to have to just keep this open position open. John, keep it on the website and, but to Judy's point, I said to her earlier today that, I do have some neighbors that might be interested because they seem like they might be the kind of interested people. But if we could all do that and try to, juice up some interest in this, it would be great. All of us. I mean, it's all of us, like the kind of people that you'd like to have on this committee.
Yeah.
John, do you know there's openings on other committees? Do you know if this unique to the EAC or are there?
Activities committee is having trouble too. They always have trouble recruiting people. Like right now, several people applied for personnel board. At least one person applied for technology, one person applied for FDPC. So in this case, EAC is having trouble and activities having trouble with their open space too.
Okay. Well, I will do my best to put the word out as well.
Hey, John,
Mhm.
are these open positions out there on Savvy Citizen?
Yes, they, when it comes time to advertise this, I usually do a news item on the front page of the website, try to note it on the individual board page. Then I usually put out a notification on Facebook and Savvy Citizen. And as long as it works out, if it's not too close to deadline, I do put a note out via McMail as well.
Mhm.
But yeah, the notification was sent out on Savvy Citizen the same day it went out on Facebook and the website.
When is the next, when is the next McMail going out?
It should be Friday, June 2nd. I'm sorry, July 2nd.
Okay, well,
Days mixed up.
that's actually quite a long time from now.
Yeah,
So, well, if we're no further along by July 2nd, please make sure it gets on there.
Hey, John, did we push this to Tony LaRussa?
I could reach out to him.
I think
Good
that's where we
idea,
really
Cinnamon.
get the most bang for our buck is in that weekly publication.
Yeah, good point, Angela. Good point.
Yeah, thanks. Okay, next, Ken, you're up next for the McMail tips. Are you willing to do that for us this month?
I missed what you were saying.
McMail, it's your turn for
Is
the
it
environmental tips.
for the tips you mean?
Yes.
Okay. John, when do I have to have something to you?
Shoot for Wednesday, June 30th, I think would be the latest.
Okay.
So it's about 3 weeks.
Thank you. And then the announcement that the next month's meeting will be, we'll be meeting live at Town Hall. So we'll get to see everyone in person again. But we were discussing, I guess, before the meeting, it will be a hybrid, correct? And there will be Zoom access as well. And I believe Shelley will be joining us remotely, most likely.
Correct.
But I'm assuming I'm expected to be at Town Hall, which is fine. I'm actually looking forward to it. Get out of my office here. See everyone in person. And does anybody else have any other topics to bring up, to discuss, or to add to the agenda for next month?
I've, Judy, I have one short thing. I know there's a lot of paving projects going on in the town. At least that's what I've heard.
There's a ton on my end of the town, yeah.
Okay. In the past, we somehow acquired a sticker that goes on to the catch basin that says, this drains to
Right.
the stream and not to the sewer and that kind of thing.
And yeah, and I think, go ahead.
I know I talked to Jason Singer. He has some of those left over.
Oh, does he? Okay.
So I'm gonna get those back from him. And then, but I don't know if I think they were a giveaway that Mark Sabina somehow was able to finagle somehow from whoever last time. But I don't know if that's something we can investigate where they came from last time, or
I think someone looked into that last year. I can't remember if that was Jason that had responded to that, because you're right. I think Mark Sabina had collected some over the years. I think you really have to pay for them,
okay.
if I remember correctly. Does anybody else remember that? Because yeah, I'm not sure where they came from. I just knew that Mark had them stored away somewhere.
So I guess maybe it's a question for Shelley or Angela, if that's something that the town wants to continue doing, or just drop it. I don't know.
I can talk to, oh my goodness, Jeff Shaneman and see if he's interested in carrying that on.
In the past, we've had volunteers.
Yeah, me and my daughter did it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I did it too. Yep.
to come by these days, but we've got some, the Key Club wasn't involved last time with the litter, and the Boy Scouts, I talked to the couple leaders there. They're always looking for, those kind of projects. So we might be able to get some volunteers to do it other than, just the 4 or 5 of us.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, Dave, would
Yes.
you let me know a little bit more about that? Because I just happened, my neighbor across the street has been involved in scouting for like 30 years.
Yeah.
And I just talked to him recently, and I'm not sure, I'm really not sure of all of the age groups that he's involved in, but it sounded like that he was interested in, getting more information about how his scouts could be more involved. So if I could get more information, at least I could like take that to him, because he did seem to have a real interest. So
Okay. I think I didn't do it. I didn't place the stickers last time, but I think it's probably pretty easy to do if,
It
Yeah.
is. It's the black adhesive is kind of a mess. You have to be careful. Have to pay attention to the kids. It'll get everywhere.
okay.
But other than that, I actually found it was a good way to get out and meet people. People would ask what I was doing. One person though waited and reported me to our Facebook group and thought I was doing something I wasn't supposed to be doing. So, but still, it was a good way for, and then I responded, explained what I was doing, and it was an educational opportunity. So, no, good suggestion, Dave.
That's the only other thing I had kind of miscellaneous was the hard to recycle event at La Roche on July 31st, just to make sure that's
Yeah.
maybe on the next
McMail.
bill or something like that. We can make sure that's still a go and advertise it a little bit. Also, any kind of contacts that we can make with La Roche. They're one of our Adopt a Highway groups over there, the student government, and we've never been able to connect with anyone over there as to whether they're doing Babcock Boulevard or not doing it, or dropped out or active or what. So I don't know, just as an aside, if there's any, contact that we have over at La Roche, that would be a good question for them.
We had contact with some of their facilities people a few years ago when we did one of those recycling visits, but I don't know if
Right.
I don't know if they would be involved with SGA's
Right.
activities like that. But worth asking.
And real quick, Dave, I can't seem to find in my notes, what is our potential date for the roadside cleanup in October?
Yeah, October 16th.
The 16th. Okay, I couldn't remember whether it was the 9th or the 16th. Okay, thanks.
I'd say that's tentative. We normally look at the North Allegheny homecoming schedule, and
Right.
that kind of thing, and but that's our
Okay.
tentative date. That's consistent with the other cleanups that we've done in the past, that weekend.
Okay. All right, thanks. All right, any other topics? Now we can move on to town council report.
Thank you, Judy. I just wanted you to, I have two things. One, I wanted you to be aware that there is a new development that is on Pine Creek Road. I'm not absolutely sure. I think it's called the Reserve at Pine, or Reserve at Pine Creek, or something like that. And the most recent information, it's going through Planning Commission right now, is that the developers are willing to donate about a 5+ acre plot of land that surrounds Olive Creek as part of this development. And the town engineers have been very involved in this. And that if the town if the town agrees and wants to take on this property, it has some potential significant benefit to the watershed, because if there's a bunch of things that would need to happen, it would require grants and other things, but it could I believe that the estimate is that if the town was able to get grants or invested in this property, that it has the potential for diverting 1.5 to 2 million gallons of water out of Pine Creek, slowing it down, so it could be a huge benefit to the watershed. So that's being discussed, and you should all be aware of that. It's nothing's agreed to yet, but it's something that town council and planning commission are currently reviewing.
Now, is
So-
that, so I don't mean to interrupt, but is that the property that I guess what they refer to as the farm property off of Pine Creek Road?
It is the one that has the allegedly historic barn
Okay,
on it.
that was,
Yeah.
that was very prominent in our discussions at our stream walk, because
Oh,
we,
really?
at the
Really?
end of the walk, yes, we actually ended up at, I guess the neighborhood right next to that parcel, and we talked a good bit about the stream and the fact that everyone mows right up to it, and there was definite discussion about people that were opposed to developing that parcel. So this is a very interesting piece of information to add to that.
Well, yes, the original proposal that was put in front of Planning Commission had, it wasn't huge, but it had, I don't know, 22 plots of land, and then other plots that were along Pine Creek Road. And the newest version of this is more like estate lots that are larger and not, I think it might be down to, I'm sorry. I do have this information, but I don't remember it. It might be down to 11 lots or something,
Okay,
plus Pine Creek, the ones along Pine Creek Road. But the whole, it's between 5 and 6 acres of what is along Pine Creek itself, has a potential opportunity for donation to the town of McCandless, where in the future, we could, if we got title to that land, the town would be in a position to seek grants to put in rain gardens, diversion channels,
right.
things of that nature. So that's going on, and I thought that would be of interest to the EAC. And the only other thing I had on my list was, I think this was Dave, I think you had a question about this, which was the waste management contract that's coming up. So this is what I can, so there is, so there was an RFP for our waste management handling, and a number of companies responded to it. Waste management, for a number of reasons, I think at least from town hall admin, is like our current provider has currently the best economic proposition. And of course, the EAC has always been interested in, how are we handling glass? What are those things? And so that is something I just wanted everyone to know. That is like right front and center of something that I think the current agreement expires at the end of the year. And, this is a key time period. So again, Dave, I know this is right up your alley, and I do have, I have to go back and it's 164 page or something, proposal that, like, for example, one of the questions that I had was, how are you handling glass? Because we've talked about this repeatedly in meetings, is that, because I know, Dave, you said that you're taking your glass to somewhere else. And like many of us, I kind of feel really bad because I feel like the glass isn't being handled, but it's probably still going to my, into my recycling, because that's the contract that Waste Management has. So this is something that it hasn't been, council hasn't voted on continuing with Waste Management in this contract, but if the EAC wants to, certainly, I think if the EAC wants to get involved in having an opinion, that we should talk more about that, and very quickly, because it's right up there front and center. That's my report.
Okay. Thank you. All right, and we have no members of the public here tonight, so no public comments. Unless there's anything else I've missed, or anything anyone would like to add, do we have a motion to adjourn?
I motion we adjourn.
Thank you. Do we have a second? Thank you, Dave. All in favor, adjourn?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? All right, we are adjourned. Be nice I'd look forward to seeing everybody this time next month. We can get back to our in-person meetings, and I guess it include some of our members that have never actually met in person with us. So that'll be very nice. So I look forward to seeing everyone then.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Thanks.